Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Excuse me. My name is Julie and welcome to Woman at the Well. And today we are going to get into our book again, The Way of the Warrior. We left off talking about only humanity bears the creative image of its creator. So right now we're talking about how the warrior becomes one with all things. And we are almost done. So I gotta get scooting and we're gonna be moving. I already have 2 moving boxes packed. And yesterday was a little bit crazy. The whole process, the whole home buying process is moving a lot quicker than I thought it would be because we're doing the owner financing. And my husband's handling all this stuff, so I don't really know much about it, but all I know is it's almost like it just seems like it was going so slow and now it feels like it's just moving so fast. It's really weird. And I think it's just the autism in me is just trying to like regulate as things are happening, and sometimes I get a little bit overwhelmed. And right now I just feel a little bit overwhelmed, even though I'm, excited and happy to move and stuff, but it's starting to really get real and the wheels are turning and they're going faster and faster. So it's like, okay, here we go. So, and moving alone is stressful. So it's, I'm realizing as I'm looking around, even though it's a travel trailer, I have so many little things, and I don't see anything that I can part with because everything in this trailer is pretty much sentimental to me because, we got rid of most of our stuff. So, which now we're going to have to restock stuff to, because we're moving into our home. So it's a ride, I'll tell you that much. Okay, so anywho, that's where we left off. So today I'm going to continue our read and let's see how far we're going to get. I'm not sure how far we'll get. I don't like to go over 15 minutes, so we'll see. So grab a snack, grab something to drink, sit back, relax, and I'll try to do my best with my speech flow as I read so I don't torture you as you listen along. So here we go. You are both within creation and above creation. While humanity seems the most fragile component of the universe, only humans carry within them both the creation and the creator. Scripture tells us that humanity is God's preeminent creation. He commanded humanity to take dominion and rule over creation. The health of the entire earth was entrusted to the care of this delicate species we call humanity. When the warrior is one with creation, they see beauty all around them. When the warrior is one with the universe, they are filled with wonder and awe. When the warrior is one with nature, they find their souls at rest. I'm going to put my readers on. My eyes, they're straining. Here we go. The warrior honors creation, but only worships the creator. It is dangerous to choose a path that makes you blind to the beauty all around you. The warrior finds themselves often and unexpectedly overwhelmed by the beautiful. Though the warrior has known many battles, they find nothing to be as overwhelming as the beauty that compels them to live. The way of the warrior never loses sight of the elegance, artistry, and exquisiteness that surround them on every step of their journey. The warrior is never overwhelmed by the grandness of the universe, but is elevated by it. To know that you are a part of the universe is to know that you are connected to something bigger than yourself. The Bible tells us that all creation declares the glory of God. Although the rest of the world may grow deaf to such declarations, the warrior cannot help but hear them. The warrior looks at creation and is filled with wonder and is moved to worship. The warrior lives in a state of awe. While others look for proof of God, the warrior finds it everywhere. The way of the warrior is a life of worship. The warrior also understands their stewardship over creation. Creation is a gift from God to humanity and must be treated with honor and respect. We cannot say we respect the Creator if we treat his creation with disrespect. The most skilled warrior has learned never to leave a footprint where they have walked. The warrior seeks to live in harmony with creation. The warrior understands the elegant balance that holds nature together. The warrior can be entrusted with creation because they live to honor the Creator. The ancient poets describe our relationship with God by saying we live and breathe and have our being in him. Yet this could easily be the way one would describe our relationship with oxygen. In the same way that a fish can live only in water, so we can live only breathing in this particular atmosphere that God created. The oxygen that exists outside of us brings us life as it seeps through every cell in our bodies. Pause. I have to do it. I can't help it. How does that little jingle go that I just learned? Every single cell inside my body, every single cell is happy and well. I learned that jingle from one of the YouTube reels, or maybe it was on Instagram, I don't know. But if you say that every day, it's supposed to just really provide a lot of positive healing. But remember, only healing comes from the Lord. It's true. We can't take the matters into our own hands and think that we're manifesting all this, I don't know. I'm getting off topic. But anyway, I had to say it because I saw the word. And that's just what happens to me when I see something. When it said seeps through every cell in our bodies, of course I had to sing that song really quick. We walk on the earth, yet we are also composed of it. We do not simply exist in creation. We are a part of creation. It is possible that we have underestimated the destructive power. Is it possible that we have underestimated the destructive power of disconnectedness? When nature seems to bend to the will of God and man, we call it a miracle. It is possible that what we define as a miracle is simply the reestablishing of the proper order of creation. Okay, going forward, this next portion we're going to read is titled One with the God of Creation. Elijah lived a life that many would consider to be unbelievable. Almost knowing that we might discount Elijah's story, James tells us that Elijah was a man just like us. With intention, Elijah prayed that it would not rain. And for 3.5 years, that is exactly what happened. It didn't rain. When we read about a miracle of such an extreme nature, we quickly attribute it to the nature of God. But what if it also has much to do with the nature of man? What if we are more than we know in our disconnection with God, have become less than we were ever meant to be? What if part of what makes prayer so powerful is that it reestablishes the proper relationship with God, with each other, and with creation? The warrior knows that prayer is their greatest weapon. Prayer is the warrior's sword. They must learn to wield it well. The warrior knows that prayer is far more simply speaking to God. The power of prayer comes from hearing from God, and prayer becomes our sword when we speak in concert with him. After 3.5 years, Elijah found himself in a great conflict with two of Israel's darkest rulers, Ahab and Jezebel. There hadn't been a drop of rain in more than 3 years, and suddenly Elijah told Ahab that he had heard the sound of heavy rain. The skies were clear. There were no clouds to be found anywhere. The land was parched and thirsty. There were children who had no memory of what rain looked like, felt like, or even sounded like. Yet Elijah heard the sound of something that had not yet come. It's almost as if creation was speaking to him, even if he had spoken it 2 years before. How strange that Elijah could hear the sound of heavy rain long before the first drops touched the ground. I am reminded how Adam and Eve hid their nakedness because they heard the sound of God walking in the garden. Imagine being able to hear the sound of God walking. For most of us, he is painfully silent. It's hard enough for most of us to hear the voice of God. Imagine living in such intimacy with God that you could identify the sound of his steps. Elijah climbed to the top of Carmel. bent down to the ground and put his face between his knees. He commanded his servant to go to the sea, look to the sky, and report what he had found. But when he went and looked, there was nothing there, yet somehow Elijah was undiscouraged. He sent the servant back 6 times, and each time the servant would come back with the same report. There was nothing there. I'm convinced that most of us would have quit at this point. We would have put more confidence in what we had seen than what we had heard. I know it sounds absurd, but Elijah was hearing sounds from the future. He was listening to what was yet to come. It was the 7th time when the report changed. On the 7th time, the servant saw a small cloud, a cloud of a size about of a fist, rising from the sea. I suppose in most cases the servant would have overlooked the seemingly insignificant sign, but if you look hard enough and keep looking long enough, you will see the first signs of the future being ushered in. That was all the confirmation Elijah needed. And we are told that immediately afterward, the sky grew black with clouds, the wind rose, and a heavy rain began to fall. Even many of us who are believers put stories like this into the category of mythology. What if they are in fact a glimpse into what has been lost? What if miracles look like aberrations because we have accepted the world as it is and not as it should be? What if you're supposed to be able to hear the sound of the coming rain? If only you knew how to listen. I mean, I can smell it coming. Maybe I can hear it. Let's try that. Let's try to hear the rain coming. In this moment, we see layers of the connectedness of the activity of God in human history. Elijah had a soul knowledge in which he knew before it actually happened. Elijah's servant could not see into the unknown, but he was aware at the first sign. Ahab, whose heart was rebellious against God, came to know only after the rain began to fall. And there were probably masses who never even understood that the drought and the downpour were both connected to the activity of God, and who forever remained unaware. The warrior hears the rain before it falls. They hear from God when he speaks. They speak to God when he listens, and together they speak to creation, and creation moves toward its intention. The warrior hears the whisper in the wind. The warrior can also whisper to the wind. The warrior does not move into the future from the present. The warrior moves into the present from the future. The way of the warrior is to hear what cannot be heard, to see what cannot be seen, to know what cannot be known. The way of the warrior cannot be walked with instructions from God. It can only be walked through intimacy with him. The warrior does not know where they are going. They know who they are following. The warrior marks their path not by destination, but by presence. And presence had a capital P on it. God. So I'm going to stop there. I'm at 13 minutes. So we're going to get into speaking to the wind in our next read. But I hope that spoke to you. I was really kind of zoning into what I was reading at first. Like for a second there, I forgot I was recording. When he was talking about, how the warrior does not move into the future from the present. The warrior moves into the present from the future. And I started thinking about faith. Faith is having hope in something that you can't see, that you can't yet see, and faith is also that hope in knowing that still small voice. My eyes are strained. They're very tired today. They burn. I put my contacts in. That's probably why. So, guess I gotta wear my glasses today. Today's not a contact day. I guess I'm flaring, so it's weird. Like my hands are really sweaty, but my eyes are really dry. It's like a weird flare. I hope it goes away soon. But anyway, yeah, that was interesting. This book is really speaking to me, and I hope it's speaking to you too. And again, we're almost done. We only have this little portion left. And then I'm probably going to start our next book when we get back east. Because, like I said, things are moving pretty quickly. And every day something new pops up and, like, new information about the process. So, Oh, I was at therapy yesterday and I was talking to her, and I, of course, had some tears too because I tend to be a water baby when I talk about just anything, really. Seems like I cry a lot. But I was just telling her the changes are exciting, but they're also overwhelming. So I just have to make sure and remind myself to be gentle with myself and gentle on my body, and not feel like I have to like get everything done all at once because I physically can't anyway. So, but okay. With that being said, I'll let you go. But stay tuned for our next book read. We're probably going to have maybe, I would say, 2 or 3 more videos of this book, and then we'll be done with this series. So, you all have a wonderful day. I love you, and I will see you next time on the next video. Bye.